For Artifact 6, I wrote 2 lessons for digital citizenship that discuss students being able to recognize their rights and responsibilities and opportunities of living, learning, and working in an interconnected digital world, and they act and model in ways that are safe, legal, and ethical. In this one, we focus on digital identity and data privacy, and this lesson is titled, What's the Password? So our focus question for this lesson is, how can I create a strong password to protect my digital devices, profiles, and information? We also discussed what a password is and what it does, as well as who should know the students' passwords to things, and how often should they change their password. The objective of this lesson is to equip kindergartners with the knowledge of how passwords can protect their identity and information when online, at home, and at school. We do have a set of Chromebooks that are connected to the school server for students to use for class activities and tasks. Students do not have their own individual Google sign-ons, so they would all work under a school login. However, each student has their own usernames and passwords for sites and programs and apps that we do use in the school in a class. So the lesson activity starts out with, I used a lock box that was designed and created. It's a wooden box with a hook on the outside that can be locked by a lock with a code. And I set my lock to just unlock for 000 at the start of my lesson. And then I told students that inside the box I had all of my important information, such as my birthday, address, my phone number, some money, and things like that, so that it was really important that I keep it locked up and safe. And then I asked students why they think it's important to keep their information like that safe, and what does it mean to keep it safe? What are some ways they could think of to keep it safe? So then I wrote my lock code on the board so that I would not forget it. And I asked students if that was a good idea, and then we discussed why and why not that is a good idea or a bad idea. Also, I drew their attention to the fact that my code is all just zeros, and I asked them if that was a good code that no one would guess or be able to get into. And so I told my students that this is just like the passwords that we create for our school sites and learning programs, as well as any games that we play, like if they play Fortnite or Minecraft at home. I also discussed with students why it's important to have strong passwords that no one can guess for these things. So we watched this video here, and then we stopped and discussed the questions for this Edpuzzle video when it paused, and had students turn and talk about what they had learned. We also had students co-create strong possible passwords with a partner after viewing that video, and then shared some out with the class to determine how strong of a password they were. So then we used the password creator handout and had students work independently to create their strong passwords with the teacher's assistants. So once the students finished, they came to the carpet to review their strong passwords and characteristics, and why it's important to have a strong password, as well as listing people that it's okay to share that password and personal information with. Some extension ideas that I really, really wanted to do, but did not have enough time to, is this video call with KSU's IT department, and having students ask prepared interview questions about password protection and information security. And then I have some extension ideas as well as some teaching tips here. This Google Doc Internet Privacy Choice Board is really neat, and that would be something that I would love to use in the future for this lesson. The second lesson is called Guess Who. This one focuses on how students should be acting online, what a digital identity is, how who we're allowed to talk to online and how, and then what should students do if someone's being mean or not acting like they should online. So the objective here of this lesson is to teach students about their digital identity being an extension of their real identity and how to protect their reputation, what a reputation is, and how to act appropriately and positively, and to steer clear of others' unknown identities when online, at home, or at school. We really used this digital identity journal heavily, so that was what the lesson was based around. So students were a couple were invited to stand in the front of the board, and other students would write what they think, what they like about the student's personality, what they're known for being, if they're known for being a good friend or always including others at playtime. We wrote those things down. And then we discussed with the class how we would change those opinions if that student started acting differently. Like if that student started making fun of other people or posting things that weren't true. How would our view of that person change? And then discussed that that's how it should be, that is their reputation, and they keep that reputation whether they're in person or online. And we also talked about the safety there, about not talking to strangers, and not talking, and a stranger being someone we don't know in person, that our parents don't know. We also watched this video and then discussed the netiquette rules after reviewing those. And then we had students develop a set of rules in their own words to create a class digital citizenship contract together. And then each student signed it and agreed to it. And we posted that in the classroom and referred to it often. Then we completed our digital identity learning journal. So some things that I use as extensions for this lesson, since I did have a little more time for this, were these games right here from Be Internet Awesome. These were really neat and this really engaging for students. I played it on the board, and then we discussed as a class what we should use as the answer for student answers. I also have here, excuse me, I also have here an extension for parents. And that I did send out on our Brightwheel app for students to use or to view at home. And then I have my teaching tips here. For this, I did highlight for the teaching tips to lean heavily on student interaction throughout this lesson, because that is the main teaching point, is how students are interacting with each other as well as others online. And so we really emphasize that throughout the entire lesson.